Initially, I was gonna make a video complaining about God of War Laufey, how the game feels like an uninspired corporate checklist, how I'm clearly not the target audience for it, how it feels more like a Marvel movie than a God of War game, and how Sony Santa Monica showed the God of War logo first and then zoomed out to Laufey because they knew very well that without a God of War name up front, no one would give a damn about this game. But then I realized something. This is a film we all have watched countless times before. The thing is that when the gameplay reveal dropped, I tried watching it, but I kept clicking off the video within a couple of minutes. For some reason, the gameplay video simply couldn't hook me and I just felt indifferent to it. But then I accidentally opened X and the timeline literally just blew up in my face. Like dude, I haven't seen gamers at each other's throats like this in a very long time. Everyone was fighting, there were 8,000 different opinions. Some people were shitting on the game like it's the worst thing ever, while some people were defending it like face their mom. And I was sitting there thinking, maybe I missed something. So I went back to it and successfully forced myself to watch the entire 5 minutes of gameplay. That was a subtle joke about the lack of actual gameplay, by the way. Now after watching the video, I sat down to write a script. But despite my superior yapping skills, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't find a decent angle to frame everything because there were so many straw man arguments against everything I wanted to cover that I just burnt out and shut down my laptop. But the next day, I woke up to a notification that the blood message dropped 19 minutes of gameplay. I tapped on the video and believe me, I just couldn't stop watching. I literally watched it like 3 times back to back, breaking it down frame by frame, trying to capture every cool little detail. And then it suddenly hit me. God of War Laufey itself didn't evoke any real emotion in me. I was merely reacting to Twitter discourse, to all the lies and the gaslighting. I mean, just look at this guy defending Faye's character design, arguing that she looks like this because she's been through hell, fought monsters, got punched in the face by Mongolian God of War, and got smashed into a mountain. Now, first of all, she looked like this from the very start of the trailer before fighting anything, so that's a blatant lie. The second thing is that, dude, I've seen this same woman bloodied and bruised in the Punisher series, and she still looked absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of us gamers getting labeled as cavemen chuds who are scared of women simply because we call out the industry-wide patterns. These are stupid arguments from people who would rather fight over a game online than actually play the damn thing. I mean, just look at what happened with X-Voto, and that's not the only one. There are many other examples. These games didn't flop because gamers hate female protagonists. If that were the case, the reaction to the new Tomb Raider, Stellar Blade, and Resident Evil wouldn't look like this. I've said it before and I'll say it again, no one hates female protagonists. We just hate poorly written characters that exist for politics and agenda pushing instead of an actual creative purpose. And that's the reason why all these games that have replaced beloved male leads have been getting so much hate. Now for what it's worth, Laufey is a spin-off game, so Kratos is not getting replaced anytime soon, unless Laufey sells better than God of War, which is highly unlikely. Now that doesn't mean that God of War Laufey will be a financial disaster. The God of War brand name is huge and makes sure that it doesn't flop. But I think that this game will sell a fraction of the copies that God of War 2018 or even Ragnarok sold. Because if I don't want to drop $70 on this game despite being a massive fan of the franchise, I'm sure a huge chunk of the community shares the exact same sentiment. And in case Laufey's story turns out to be important for the next God of War game with Kratos, I'll probably just watch a quick summary on YouTube and be done with it. The point is that Sony Santa Monica has deliberately made the decision to alienate its core audience to chase an audience that doesn't exist outside of a Twitter thread. Meanwhile, the Chinese and Korean devs are rushing in to fill the huge gap left by all these Western studios. I mean, just look at Pearl Abyss. Crimson Desert saw a peak of around 50,000 players over the weekend, despite the fact that it came out 3 months ago. And what's actually funny is that it's still more than what Marathon Season 2 could pull over the weekend of its free week. But anyways, let's not get distracted here. The point is, just like Pearl Abyss came in and dominated the single-player open-world space, 24 Entertainment, a Chinese company that made a battle royale game that no one probably even knows about, is working on a cinematic, narrative-driven single-player game, The Blood Message. And with everything I've seen, this game is flat out embarrassing Sony, completely destroying them at their own game, which is making high quality cinematic experiences. Not to mention, despite being a movie game, they still managed to show actual 19 minutes of rock solid gameplay, and really scratch that itch left by the piss poor state of play. Now, people have been comparing the Blood Message to the Uncharted games, and they're not wrong. It does feel like an Uncharted game with the grounded realism and brutality of The Last of Us. However, I'd go a step further and say that this game also feels a lot like a God of War game. In fact, in my opinion, it feels more like a God of War game than Laufey does, but more on that later. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. The blood message looks absolutely gorgeous. The lighting, the textures, the environment, everything looks phenomenal. Now yes, this gameplay footage was most probably running on a beefy PC, so the PS5 performance is kind of concerning, but that's a topic for another video. The game takes place during the Shenzhou uprising in 840s China. The Chinese rebel leader Yang Yiqiao sent out 10 teams of messengers on a long-ass journey to deliver a message to the town capital requesting military aid. Out of all the teams, only one made it through. All the others were either killed or went MIA. The historical setting in my opinion is pretty fascinating, but what gives it more of an emotional weight is the father-son dynamic. The blood message follows the story of the surviving team, a father named Pei Chengwan and his young son named Ning. You play as a rough middle-aged dad trying to protect his child at all costs while carrying out a mission that will determine the fate of his homeland. This directly plays into the peak male fantasy of being a badass dad and a hero. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why The Last of Us Part 1 and God of War 2018 are some of the most beloved games out there, but anyhow, let's talk about the gameplay. First of all, the game will feature some stealth gameplay, and while it's pretty basic stuff, hiding in tall grass and all that, it looks pretty solid. The one thing that caught my eye though was how the environment reacts to you and the enemies. Like here, as Pei is sneaking behind an enemy, a flock of birds flies away, causing the guy to realistically turn around and pull out his sword right away. In another similar scenario, a dog in a cage starts barking all of a sudden, forcing Pei to scramble and hide in tall grass. These small environmental factors seem to make the stealth encounters unpredictable and make it more of a challenge. The game will also feature some Naughty Dog-esque crazy action set pieces. In the gameplay reveal, they showcase this high-intensity chase sequence and it looks really chaotic and badass, like something straight out of an Uncharted game. Speaking of action, the biggest highlight for me personally was the incredibly solid and visceral combat. Not gonna lie, this is hands down one of the best looking combats I've ever seen in a video game. Like, it looks so damn good that I'm fully convinced playing it will feel just as great. What makes the combat really stand out is the mechanical depth and the really well done top-notch animations. Like in this one scene, Pei blocks an incoming attack with his sword. But a second soldier attacks mid-animation, and instead of the animation getting interrupted, Pei smoothly shifts his sword and blocks the second attack as well. What actually blew my mind is how the enemies can even interrupt you when you're executing a finisher. Like here, Pei's finishing off an enemy, but another guy is charging at him, and at that moment the game triggers a kind of a QTE where you have to push left on the left stick and adjust your position to block the incoming attack, then quickly press RB or R1 to finish the guy off. Similarly, when Pei's finishing off a down guy, an enemy kicks him mid-animation and the game triggers another QTE where you have to press RB to complete the execution. It's really damn impressive in my opinion and makes the combat feel much more impressive. I mean, in most other AAA games, something like this would just knock you out of the animation, but this game handles it in the best and the most unique way possible. The environment also plays a huge role in combat scenarios. You can grab stuff and chuck it at enemies, which is something similar to what we saw in 007 First Light. In addition to that, they also showed some environmental takedowns, and they look really cool and cinematic as well. Now, as impressive as the combat is, one thing that impressed me even more, something no one has really pointed out, is the camera work. During the entire 19 minutes of gameplay, the only time where the camera cuts is when Pei inspects an object. That's it. Other than that, everything is one single continuous shot from start to finish, and it heavily reminded me of the God of War games. Like from cutscenes to gameplay to combat to stealth to the action set piece, there was not a single camera cut, and it made the whole thing feel so much more immersive while perfectly complementing the grounded high-intensity action. Now, what's crazy is that this single-shot camera is something that the newer God of War games took pride in. It's something that gave a distinctive, unique feel to those games. No one else in the entire industry even tried to do anything remotely close to it, because let's be real here, pulling it off is incredibly challenging. But now we have these Eastern devs coming out of nowhere, just casually implementing the same one-shot camera while doing everything else to a level that you would only expect from a Naughty Dog game. Now, to be fair, I don't think the entire game will feature the uncut camera. The journey is pretty long, and there will definitely be some sort of chapter screens and time jumps with fade to blacks and all that, but judging from the gameplay footage, I think most of the game will play out like this, and it's actually insane. The point I'm trying to make is that these Eastern devs who only ever made a battle royale game are now making a movie game that looks much more promising than most of Sony's first party titles. Now honestly, I don't know how the final product will turn out to be, but if they actually manage to deliver, this is gonna be yet another slap in the face of the Western AAA studios. But I'll leave you at that. Do share your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the Blood Message? Because this is a game that I'm definitely looking forward to. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Also use the hype feature as it really helps my small channel get more exposure, and I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.